Hello and welcome to this little video about search summary tables. My name's Rebecca Abbott. I'm a Senior Research Fellow in the Evidence Synthesis team at the University of Exeter. And I've got two lovely colleagues with me today who love search summary tables and are going to tell you all about them. So Alison, over to you.
Thanks very much, Becca. I'm an information specialist in the same team as Becca and the evidence synthesis team at the University of Exeter Medical School. And I spend a lot of time searching for different types of evidence synthesis, including systematic reviews, rapid reviews, evidence gap maps, and I use search summary tables all the time.
And my name is Klas and I work as an information specialist at the Swedish Agency for Health Technology Assessment and Assessment of Social Services. And I also work extensively with literature searching for different types of reviews.
Great. Well, I have a few questions for you, and I'm going to start with you, Alison. Can you tell us what search summary tables are?
Thank you, Becca. So a search summary table we've developed is in an Excel spreadsheet, and it helps you organize all of your search methods at the end of an evidence synthesis project. And it can tell you really interesting things, I think anyway, about where you find the evidence, which databases it's in. These are all the included references, what supplementary search methods were valuable for your particular evidence synthesis. Whether qualitative studies were found in the same places as quantitative studies, and it can even then help you see where perhaps your search wasn't so great, and then you might have to go back in and start evaluating your searches as well. But I could go on and on, but I'll stop.
Great, that's great. Klaus, how do you use search summary tables in your work?
Well, at SBU, we have been having them as a mandatory part of doing systematic reviews since January 2021. And when we do them, we have kind of a minimum amount of information we have to add. That's which databases and supplementary search methods found the included studies, and which databases and supplementary search methods found unique studies. And we generally look at them at an aggregated level, so looking at which database performs well, which do not, and so on. So that's how we've used them so far.
And you do them at the end of a review, or
exactly.
as you go along?
So far, we do them at the end. I definitely see a value of doing them during the project as well, and hopefully we'll do so more in the future, but so far mainly at the end of the projects.
Great. Alison, another question for you. Have search summary tables changed how you search?
They certainly inform how I search. So you can see when you've done a few of them, perhaps which databases, where there have been no included studies. So it just gives you further evidence and information to make decisions as you go along. But I have used them within a systematic review. So there's one I'm doing at the moment, and it's been 5 years since the searches were done originally, but we've done maybe 3 update searches, and I do a search summary table at each stage, and I can see that 2 or 3 databases were getting no included studies from them. So I can then, when you get to the end, you can think, well, actually, I can search just these databases because you're getting to the end of the project. So it has impacted where I search, and there are other examples of projects where it's impacted how I search as well. But I won't go into that one.
And sounds like it gives you confidence for making decisions about maybe just in those updated searches restricting to a few databases.
Exactly. There was one that Becca and I were in together. We did a project on recurrent abdominal pain for Cochrane a number of years ago. And again, there were several update searches in that. And in the end, they were all from Medline. The searches were picking them up. So for our final update search, we just used Medline for that one. Yeah.
Great. Another technical question for you, Klas. Why might you use a search summary table instead of just a database coverage analysis?
Well, first of all, I guess I'd say that both of these types of analyses are important and good. But one thing I can say is from our collection of SSTs at SBU, we have seen that there can be a substantial difference between what's indexed in a database and what's actually found by a specific search in a database. And I realized this will look different in different organizations, different databases. But in our specific case, we can, for instance, see that there's a big difference for Scopus and Embase, what's in the database and what we find in the search.
Fantastic. Okay, just a few more questions. Alison, what more do you think we can learn from search summary tables?
Yeah, I mean, when you do a search summary table at the end, it only tells you about that specific project. So we need more of them so we can then start inferring and have more evidence to inform how we search and where we search, and maybe even which databases we need access to before we can do a systematic review on a particular topic or subject. So, I'd like to see more of them done and more of them shared, so if I'm involved in a project, I try to publish them as part of the paper. So that'd be great to see. And I think the more we have, the more we can learn, the more we share, and also it helps people who are starting off, rather than experience. It's evidence-based searching is what I would hope for.
Yeah, fantastic. So, I mean, search summary tables need information specialists to do this more often. And following on from that then, Klas, perhaps maybe the last question to you, what do you see for the future for search summary tables?
Well, I guess, first of all, I'd just like to emphasize again what Alison said. The most important thing is that more people do them and more people share them, either, as Alison mentioned, by having them together with the actual systematic reviews or sharing them in journal articles or presenting them at conferences. But I think for that to happen, one important thing is to kind of find more technical solutions to simplifying this process, making it easier to do them, because that will probably make more people actually do them and share them. So that's the future that I hope for.
Fantastic. I'm sure we could have spent longer talking about this, but we wanted to make sure it was a nice, snappy video. But please do go. I'd like to thank Alison and thank Klas. And for those of you who follow this link, please do go back to the QR code and see what other information we have about search summary tables on there. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks.